Um, Richie, you started playing with in round one against Nepo, a player that you've gotten to know so well over the last few months. Tell us a bit about this game.
Yeah, I was very surprised by his approach. No, actually, of course, I was thinking to take some small experience with me from the match, and I felt like he is actually quite vulnerable in French. I mean, 92 is not considered to be the the most dangerous line.
Was there ever any tension between Team Nepo and Team Ding in any way, shape or form? I've spotted at the beginning of the game he wasn't really facing you before you guys started the game. Was there anything there?
I mean, from my side, not really. As you can see, from him it might be. I don't know. Like, yeah, the match was not. I mean, I'm not much to do with the match. Of course, if it was like this, I think half of the players wouldn't talk to each other after all the World Championship matches that has been played already. So I didn't feel like that. But yeah, he was acting a bit peculiar before the game. I don't know. Maybe he was just nervous, or maybe just in general not happy to be here and to play after the match. Yeah.
So what led to this tension between two top players in the world? Why is it that Nepo is not looking in the eye at Richard Rapport? So the reason is that Richard Rapport was the second of Ding Liren, and he basically helped Ding Liren overcome all the problems in the World Championship and helped him become the world champion against Nepomniatchchi. And that can make anybody a little salty. Now, Richard Rapport was also in the same candidates tournament that Ding Liren and Nepomniatchchi played last year to qualify for the World Championship. Ding got second, and Nepo ended first in the candidates. In the candidates tournament, when Richard Rapport played against Ian Nepomniatchchi, an interesting game happened, an interesting moment happened. This was a position after 14 moves. Nepomniatchchi has just played bishop to h3. It's basically a draw offer. You take, and then after queen g6, king moves, black will just repeat checks, and if white wants to take the draw, that's the option. How did this position come about? This is an amazing line in preparation by Nepo. Let's see how this position came on the board. Richard Rapport played e4. Nepo played e5. And then we have the Petrov, which Nepo was extensively prepared for the World Championship against Carlsen. So takes, and we have the main line, d4, d5, all standard. Here, castles, and c4. All this is main line. c6, also normal. Here, Rapport played a slightly obscure move, queen b3. And Nepo was prepared for this. I mean, normally here people play knight c3, rook e1, right? But he played queen b3. Nepo reacted with bishop g4, basically threatening bishop takes knight, opening up of the king side. So he goes bishop takes knight, does Rapport, d takes, and then knight g5, attacking the e pawn. Bishop e7 and knight takes pawn. But Nepo also gets a d4 pawn back, and this gives an option to take on b7, which Rapport goes for. What are the other options? You can play knight c3 and defend. That's an option. But he goes for the most critical line, queen takes b7. Nepo gets a piece, but he'll also loses the rook. But then comes bishop h3. What a nice move. Basically offering a draw here. And guess what Richard Rapport did? He took the piece, and after queen g6, he played king h1. Queen e4, he repeats. Queen check, he repeats. And after queen e4, Richard Rapport makes a very brave decision. He decides not to go for the draw. He refuses the draw offer. Play pawn f3. And now queen d3, king g2, queen g6 check, king back. And again, Nepo is okay with the draw because he was already leading the candidates. He was in a good position. And here, again, Richard Rapport refuses the offer. He goes knight d2. A brave but a very risky decision because Nepo was prepared with positions arising from this. He goes queen d7, basically trapping the queen over there. Knight a6 will trap the queen, but of course, queen takes rook and it will be queen against two rooks. And now from here, the game just becomes explosive. Knight e4, knight a6. The queen's gone, so it takes. So the last time Nepomniatchchi had a queen versus two rook situation, it was in game 6 of the Magnus Carlsen versus Nepo World Championship. And that was a bad memory for Nepo. So bishop f4. So on first side, it looks like it's okay for white. You've got open lines for your rooks and everything. But the queen is much better here because the king is not safe. Queen takes h3. The h3 pawn goes, rook d1, pawn h6. He could have actually pushed h5, but okay. Bishop back and knight c5. Nice move. Rook e1. So Rapport just activates all of his pieces. Knight e6. Trying to get to g5 or f4. And here, pawn a3. So there is an extra pawn on the queen side. So he's trying to create a pass pawn over here. h5. So this is the problem. Now the h pawn is becoming a dangerous force. If the bishop moves out of the diagonal, knight f4 will come. So he goes rook d3, and after queen f5, pawn b4 and h4. Can you take that pawn? If you take that pawn, knight f4 comes, and that becomes difficult to handle because rook would hang and king would not be able to move anywhere. So bishop bend to b8, knight g5, rook e3, and just knight takes, pawn takes. The problem is now the queen enters. White plays h3 because black would have played h3, g5, g4, h3 if given the chance. So he goes h3, and actually directly h3 is even possible because rook can't take it, the other rook's hanging. So the extra pawns over here on the queen side are not yet dangerous enough. And this bishop is doing a wonderful job saving the king. And white has not nearly enough activity, even if you take, it takes time. So he goes h3, stopping black's h3. Here, just bishop e7, activating the bishop. Bishop came back, and then bishop g5. Bishop g1, just in time to stop the threats on the king side. He goes queen d2. The queen stays around, and then queen d3, attacking h3. You can't go king h2 because queen g3 anyway comes. So here, bishop e3 was chosen by Rapport. And then just bishop f6, a very nice move. He's not exchanging. He's not making it a queen versus two rooks. He's keeping the bishop. He wants to bring it to c3, attacking the rook. So now bishop a7 and then queen h3. And it's all over because queen g3, king moves. And you can't go to h1 because then queen f3, king g1 and bishop c3 wins a rook, right? Wins an exchange. He goes to f1 and now just h3. It's all over. So the brave choice. And here he played a very nice move to finish off the game. Bishop f4. Bishop h4, sorry. He's threatening queen f3. And if you block with the bishop, there's queen g2 checkmate. That's the point of bishop h4 and this h3. And if you block with the rook, you lose the rook. So here after bishop h4, Richard Rapport resigned and Nepo went on to win the candidates. And then fast forward a few months, Richard Rapport is helping Ding Liren lift the World Championship trophy against Nepo. And that led to the long face in the next tournament they faced each other.